Hi YouTube, from Fat to Fit here. This is Siggy saying hi. I am a few days late of doing my video for the week. I apologize. I wasn't feeling well. I think I have a viral infection, and I guess well, I'll explain about that later. Anyways, so today is Sunday, uh, April 3rd, 2016. And I'm sitting outside in front of my house on my porch, little patio, whatever you want to call it. One of my favorite places to sit outside. And it's just such a beautiful day. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to exercise like the entire month of March and the very beginning of April so far. I have been feeling kind of weak and lightheaded, and my body's telling me to stay close to home, so I'm taking care of my home. I'm taking care of my family, myself, doing the marketing, cooking, laundry, all, bathrooms, all that stuff, and that's about as much as I can do. And there's so much more that I can do. I mean, it just never ends. But enough about that. So this is where I am at. I am currently on week 50. Unbelievable. 50 weeks. And unfortunately, my weight is pretty much stabilized. I am at 176.1, and last week I came to you at 176.4. I'm just looking at my notes. And in week 48, I was down to 173. So I have been stuck at this weight for quite a while, and it does get a little bit frustrating. However, I am really trying not to gain any weight. So and I know that once I can get back to feeling well again and healthy and strong, and I will resume my walking and resume my swimming and maybe start bicycling, then I know that will help me get definitely more toned, maybe even add muscle, which can cause weight gain. But I know that I need to consume fewer calories, which it gets hard to do. So I try to keep myself really, really busy, so I can do that. This is kind of weird. I'm looking into the phone and I'm looking at my reflection at the same time. It's kind of like eerie. I can't explain it. So, okay, so, what was I going to say? Oh, my mind is just... Okay, so in terms of what's going on with my health, I believe I had a viral infection, and I have like a little skin infection on my around my fingers, and it's because I bought these French nails at CVS, and I used their glue, and I think I'm either allergic to it or it's toxic to my skin. I have really sensitive skin, so I'm going to I have like a few more nails that have to go. They're just going to drop by themselves, and then I'm just going to let my nails kind of heal and take a break from my porcelain nails. And the reason why I do that is because my nails break really easily, and because I do a lot of work with my hands. Actually, the porcelain nails really are very strong, and I can get to things easier than my own nails because they kind of feel like, not very strong. So, and the same thing with my hair. My hair loss is just unbelievable. I was under a lot of stress before my weight loss, and with my weight loss and the stress, I just don't know. I read that it's supposed to come back, but mine really hasn't. I have my annual checkup with Dr. Robert Casillas on April the 18th at 2:00 p.m., which is a Monday. And my surgery was last year on April the 9th, 2015. So that's pretty close to a year. It's pretty good. And the doctor has ordered some lab work. I believe it's like hemoglobin A1C, and something about my calcium, and there was one more test. I have it in my computer, so I'll let you know when I come back from that appointment. So, you know, I'm kind of excited and I'm kind of nervous because I would like to be at 169 by April the 18th, and today is the 3rd. So I have about 2 weeks to lose 5 pounds. And because I'm not feeling very strong, that seems like just like insurmountable, if that's the correct use of the word. I don't even know. So that's what I'm dealing with. What I've been dealing with for a very long time, and I hope nobody interrupts me, because everybody interrupts me all the time, and that's very stressful too. But what can you do when you have a family? You get interrupted. When you're a teacher, you get interrupted. So, Life Interrupted. Is that a movie or a book? Anyways, okay, so let me make a very long story short. I'm not going to mention the school district, but I have been teaching since 1984. I got my teaching credential. Actually, I got hired in April of 1983 while I was in my teaching credentialing program at UCLA. And my first job was in South Central in 1984 when we had our Olympics. So I have taught pretty much consecutively, believe it or not, after the first 5 years. I guess I'm a true statistic. I resigned from teaching because it was so hard, and I was getting bronchitis. I got really sick. It's very hard teaching in South Central. I didn't have a problem so much with the kids as just the situations that they were in, and how needy they were, not only academically but in every which way. And it just it soaked the life force out of me, so to speak. And so I resigned from the district, and I said, you know, I don't see myself teaching like this in these kinds of conditions in the public school system. So I did some private school interviews, and I wasn't going to make as much money. And so I said to myself, stupidly, let me take my STRS, my retirement money, not retirement, but yeah, my money that I put aside, that the district puts aside, and I think it was $10,000, and I used it to pay for advancing my education to getting a PhD in to be a child psychologist, because I like working with children, and I thought that that would be more suitable to me. Well, I was in the program for a while. I was doing fine, and I was sitting in this chemistry of the brain class. I mean, now I would find that very interesting, and I would love it, but at that time, I was just like, why am I here? I have a teaching credential, I have a bachelor's degree. At that point, I had my master's degree, and I thought to myself, what am I doing? So I just stopped doing that, even though I guess, I don't know, that class just like, it just dawned on me that I was going to be doing this for so many years, and it's going to cost me this much money, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So I met this wonderful lady at a nail salon, and luckily enough, I guess the gods were with me, or God was with me, and she worked for the personnel department for the school district. And I told her my story. I'm not going into that story. And she said, why are we letting people like you go? And so basically, I was rehired, and I went back to teaching after, let's see, I left in 1989, and I went back in 1990. And then in 1992, I gave birth to my son, Max, in March. And I only had, I think I had like 2 or 3 months off, and I had to go back to teaching. I was at a year-round school in the Valley, and that was just awful. That was painful for me. And I had to hire a housekeeper to take care of my kid and my house. And my mom told me not to do it, but my husband said that I needed to do it. So there was conflict right there. And I wish I could have been home with my kids, but I had to do what needed to be done. And then, so I didn't really take off a lot of time with that. And when I had Sammy in 1996, in August, I did take some time off, and I didn't go back until following September. So I took like a year off, which was great. But going back was excruciatingly painful, and I was just brokenhearted. It was worse. I see that, you know, you get so attached, and it was even worse the second time. Not that the first time wasn't difficult, it was always difficult. Just leaving the house was difficult, you know. So why am I saying this? Okay, so just to give you a little background, so then I was rehired in 1990, I had my kids, and then in 2012, February 29, 2012, I was pulled from my classroom. I really don't want to get into the details right now, but just give you kind of like a framework. And then I was placed in teacher jail. Yep, there is such a thing as teacher jail. In New York, they call it the rubber room. And I was there for about a year. And then February 15th, 2013, I received my dismissal papers, and I was dismissed from the school district. And at that point, I was unemployed. I have never been unemployed in my entire life. I've always worked, and I have been working since I've been 13 years old. So I have a very strong work ethic. So, okay, so where was I going? So, yeah, so I was unemployed for exactly 13 months, 1 week, and 1 day, to be exact. And then I have 2 attorneys that are representing me, and I had to go into the Superior Court, file a writ of mandate, and that opened up. It started February 2014, and then finally in March 25th, 2014, I was reinstated. But I am still, quote unquote, a house teacher. Teacher jail, I think it exists, but they don't really house teachers there anymore. Maybe in very unusual circumstances, but I had to go physically to a place that was called teacher jail. Now I just stay home, and I have to be available from 7:45 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. and I have to call in and call out. So I've been on house teacher since March 25, 2014, and today is April 3rd, 2016. So I've been doing this for a while. So it's been about 4 years or a little bit more that I have been out of the classroom, out of the profession that I chose and that I love. And so right now we're at this point where we're supposedly negotiating attorney's fees, costs, and my medical. I did get my back pay reimbursed to me, but I had to make the phone call to the district. I guess my attorneys were too busy to do so, and you know, I'm thinking if I hadn't pursued it and made that phone call, would I have gotten my check on March 5th, 2016 or not? But I'll never know. So, but you know, I got it, and after taxes and after this and that, there's, you know, it's pretty much gone. And so now I want to get my medical, and the attorney from opposing counsel said I want to have access to medical until attorney's fees have been resolved, which I don't think is fair, because what happens if we do go to court because we can't negotiate terms, and we do have a hearing date which is set for June 21st, 2016 at what time? I think it's 1:30 p.m. hopefully with the same judge, God willing. It's the same department, the Brit department. So I feel like I've gone to law school, and I really like law, and I'm not going to go to law school now at this point in my life, but I have learned so much, and I feel like I really can help teachers who are going through this same process. I also had a trial at the OAH, which is the Office of Administrative Hearing. It's a quasi-administrative branch, and it's funded by the state of California, and that's where professionals, when they get dismissed from their work, that's where they go and fight for their to not be dismissed, to get reinstated. And at the OAH, we did win our trial. It was a 5-day trial, and the panel consists of 2 teachers, one for the district side and one for my side. And I didn't know anybody. Nobody's supposed to know anybody. And the administrative judge, and they decided in my favor that I should not be dismissed, And despite that, the district